Everyone, welcome to our City Council meeting of April 4th, 2023. If I can please invite all of you guys to take off your hats and stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. If you can remain standing for a moment of silence for our first responders and military members, please. Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember Ross?
Present.
Councilmember Mann?
Present.
Councilmember Soto?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra?
Present.
Mayor Moran?
Present.
For the record, all council members, Mayor Pro Tem, and Mayor are in attendance.
Thank you. We're moving on to closed session announcements. Direction was given to staff. Next, are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we're moving on. Citizen comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the City Council on any item not otherwise on the agenda. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern and identify themselves. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. In accordance with state open meeting laws, no action will be taken by the City Council this evening. For items which are on the agenda this evening, members of the public will be provided an opportunity to address the City Council as each item is brought up for discussion. Is there any citizen comments on the phone? Okay, coming back to the chamber, is there any citizen comments in the chamber? Please come forward, please. State your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Tilly Fennessy. I'm here to follow up on my comments from the last City Council meeting regarding the feral cats in Livingston. Mayor Moran, I thank you for taking the time to reply to my comments and my emails. I applaud you for creating a wonderful spay and neuter voucher program for Livingston's family pets. You mentioned wanting to create a program for the feral cats and that these things take time. You're right. I totally agree. Creating a new TNR program from the ground up will take time. I asked you why the city does not participate with the county's free TNR program. You said the city is in partnership with the county's animal control. I called the county again for help. They said Livingston does not have a contract with cats. It is only for dogs. So we have nowhere to go for help. I realize you're busy with important projects and that feral cats may not be a priority, but these homeless cats are rapidly multiplying. Since the last council meeting, in the last 2 weeks, I have TNR'd 2 feral cats, 1 male and 1 female. The cost, $267. $267 for 2 feral cats. Also in the last 2 weeks, we have a homeless cat who has given birth in our backyard, 4 kittens. Also in the last 2 weeks, we have 2 feral cats mating in our front yard, 2 cats mating in our backyard, 2 cats mating in our alley. So now we have 3 pregnant cats. In the next 63 days, those cats will give birth. And if each cat has 4 kittens, that's another 12 homeless cats in our neighborhood in 63 days. Time is of the essence. These cats are reproducing like wildfire. Every day, we have the stench of cat urine all over our backyard, our front yard, and our patio furniture. We are constantly stepping on cat poop in the yard. We clean it up, and they poop it out again. Our yard is their litter box. We can't even enjoy a family gathering outside. We can't even have Easter eggs outside because of the stench of the cat poop and urine. We are miserable. These cats are suffering. We are desperate for your help. Please, this is a crisis that needs to be addressed. I am begging you to help us. Mayor Moran, I have full faith and confidence in you. I have seen the great progress that you have already made for the family pets. I pray that you will find it in your heart to help us with these homeless cats and make it a priority to address this feral cat crisis. Thank you.
Is there any other additional comments in the chamber? Any public comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring that back to the dais, but I want to take the opportunity to follow up on that, and I appreciate the council for supporting the previous program that we brought in, and it's something that it's in the works. Actually, this morning I had a chat with coffee and chat with us here, some of the staff members, and there was actually some residents that came and they inquire about voucher opportunities, and we directed them to provide them with vouchers so they can take their pets and have them fixed, and I appreciate residents like yourself that have taken the time to share their concerns. And actually, I want to take this opportunity. This is also part of my report a little bit later in the agenda, but I want to take the opportunity to invite you tomorrow we actually have a roundtable meeting at 8 o'clock in the police department with the chief and other people to start working towards a TNR program. And it takes people like yourself and your comments and your suggestions, and I wish more people would be able to participate as well. And this is not a program that is going to be, it will be as successful as the volunteers that we have from the community. So 8 o'clock tomorrow morning at the police department, if you have, or anybody else that is watching, and if they are able to participate, they're more than welcome. You wanted to add something, Chief?
The only thing that I'll add to that, and I understand the frustration in the community, I see it. It is a problem. We do have a code compliance officer now. He is in his first week of work, and in the last week, he's taken 14 cats to the shelter. So all I can ask for is patience. We'll get there. We'll develop a program, and we'll continue moving forward.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Chief? Am I to understand that the shelter takes cats, is that just for TNR or for?
So normally, our contract with the county is we can take one cat there a day. Part of the training that we put our new code compliance officer through was spending a week with the shelter and the county animal control officers, and he was able to develop relationships. And probably, I shouldn't say this in public, but he was able to get, the cats delivered there and accepted by the county against what we normally do. But we are trying to make progress, and obviously we've got to develop a program to where we can move forward.
Council, anybody else? Yes.
So again, I heard that there is a program that is already developed and Livingston isn't a part of it. So can you clarify for us again why we don't enter into this program when it's already free? Because we're beyond, our citizens are beyond frustration, and they're putting their own money forward. And based on what I've heard, and I haven't done the research on it, but why didn't Livingston, or why hasn't Livingston entered into this program that is already in place, and rather get a roundtable and discuss this, prolong something that is already there? Why aren't we already moving forward on something that already exists?
We are part of the program. The problem being is citizens can't take cats to the shelter themselves. They'll only accept cats from somebody from Livingston PD. So obviously, we've been without an animal control officer or code compliance officer for nearly 6 months now. We're just now getting back into the swing of things. Again, he's been on the job for a week. And when we take them there, we're part of the trap and release program. We tell them where we found the cat. They'll fix the cat, chip the ear, or cut the ear, however you want to put it, and they take the cat back to where it was found. So we are part of the program. But again, our contract with the county is 1 cat a day.
And if I may, and my understanding is that the limit of 1 cat is not because of us, it's because of the shelter's new guidelines, because of through the pandemic they were overwhelmed, and they are still overwhelmed, and they're full, and they can only take so many. But my understanding that the limit of 1 is as per the shelter, not because, I mean, we wish we could get more and take more every day, but
we could take 10 over there a day if we needed to, but the shelter has a capacity limit,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's what we're limited to.
And the idea of having a TNR program is because so we can reduce that amount. That way they're not in that situation all the time, because otherwise the shelter basically, from my perspective, is just a revolving door, you know.
Correct.
So, but we need to do something about it locally to be able to reduce, you know. Just,
Right, and hopefully that's what
Yeah.
we start to build on tomorrow morning when we meet.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mayor, if I can.
Yes, go ahead.
I can see the capture, the spay and neuter program, and then releasing them back to the same neighborhood, but that still doesn't resolve the community members' issue of the smell and the backyard being used for a litter box.
Yeah, well, that is something that we need to, you know. Yeah, so it's. I think it will be part of the process, and obviously reducing the population will reduce the issues eventually. But yes.
Mayor Rodrigo Espinoza, Merced County Supervisor. I just wanted to add that, you know, I have $40,000 of discretionary funds, but, you know, if it takes a program to start a program of $5,000 to $10,000, a neutering program here in the community, then I'd be happy to, you know, set it up. Hopefully, it's more for structural items. Now, you know, the board, we revised the discretionary funds program. I know I have about $41,000, but if we can start a program, I think this is in general for the public good. So, you know, at $5,000, $10,000, if you can find out, you know, hopefully, like I said, at least it will kick it off, right? And maybe buy some traps. You know, I was thinking of buying more traps, but it doesn't do any good if we can't take more than one to the county. Okay?
Well, thank you for that. And actually, you know, my idea of a TNR program was eventually so that we could have a template of a program here that could be taken to other agencies, but eventually the one that has to kind of have a bigger program has to be the county through the shelter. That way we're all collaborating, and you know, and I appreciate that you are able to provide and be willing to provide some help and support when it comes to funding, because it will go a long way.
Yeah, I'll find out tomorrow more information on, you know, if we need to have a different contract with the city, and you know, as many as we can take in there. So.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, thanks. So here's another example of how sharing concerns, helps push some things along, and we cannot get things done by ourselves, so we always need the support. So thank you for that. Okay, any other public comment? Okay. Moving forward, next we have awards and presentations and proclamations. We have the presentation by the mayor, myself, for the recognition of the Livingston High School varsity girls wrestling team. So, well, first of all, I want to say congratulations. And everyone in sports should be recognized all the time, because it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of support by the family, by the parents and staff to be able to have you guys participate in sports activities. And besides, you're still responsible for your homework and going to class and all that. So you guys, in order for you guys to be able to continue in sports, you still got to complete your other responsibilities. So it takes a lot of effort. And so for that, we want to be able to take the time by this council to be able to recognize your efforts and the things you guys have accomplished, not only individually, but as a team. But at this time, I would like to have the opportunity to have members of the coaches team if you guys want to say a few words before we present the certificates, or anybody else in attendance, parents, coaches, you're more than welcome.
Well, I just want to thank the council for inviting us. Thanking them because these girls work super hard. I just want to thank them for putting up with me. And they say I yell a lot, but I demand a lot of them. Hard work, and obviously they put that hard work to use. And they, like you said, it's not just coming in the room. It's their grades. Being in good standings with their parents. I also want to thank the parents for letting them be on my team and getting them up early, because we have to come up and be at tournaments at 5 a.m. and that takes a lot of work from mostly the parents to get them up, get them there on time, and so they can have success. So I just want to thank my wrestling girls again for putting up with me, and thank the council again for inviting us for this great award that they're getting today. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other coach? Parents? Anybody else in the audience? All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to come down, and then I'm going to invite all of the athletes to come up here, and then the coaches as well, and then we're going to present the certificates. I'm going to call you individually, and then we'll present them, and then we will take a short recess to allow time for pictures and, with the parents, or, just pictures in general, because also I do want to, thank everyone for being here, not only in support of your kids, but also this is also a good opportunity to kind of get a small glimpse of what it is like to see how local government works. If you guys want to stay after the presentation, you guys are more than welcome, but if not, I'm sure you guys still have homework to do, and so we understand if you guys have to leave, okay? So we're going to come down, and you guys want to say anything before we go down? Anybody? Council?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to congratulate all of you and your family as well, your parents. Hard work and dedication do pay off, and you guys are a testament to that, so congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, guys. It's a rough sport. Conditioning, training, making sure you keep, your weight up, and so you can wrestle in your weight class. It's tough. I remember through grade school and high school doing that, trying to make it to state, and I did make it to state, but it's a tough sport, so congratulations.
Council, anybody else?
I also want to congratulate the girls wrestling team. It is magnificent to see such a group come forward and represent Livingston High School with a banner year and divisional. So congratulations. And I see some young men here also, so congratulations for a great season for you. And I believe we had one go to state, and we also had another qualify for state. So I am super proud. I come from a long line of wrestlers. My brother in the 70s wrestled in the late 70s. Family has been involved in wrestling. Coach Paez, thank you so much for taking the time and dedication. And these young ladies it takes a lot to be on that mat individually. So for those of you that don't understand the life of a wrestler, it is difficult. And these ladies have come a long way, especially over here on the West Coast. So congratulations for bringing that banner home.
Yeah, I just want to know, of all the group, which one threatens the freshmen the most? You guys threaten to beat them up because you guys are strong in wrestling? So you guys tell these freshman guys, hey, knock it off, we can tackle you down or something? How many of you guys really do that? Come on. You guys think about doing it?
So Mayor Pro Tem, you can't tackle in wrestling.
Well, that's true. So it shows, but I'm willing to bet, I don't know her name, but the one in the front, the second, everybody's looking at her. She probably does the most threatening, isn't that true? They try to cut in front of you in a lunch line or something, you say, get behind me. Am I right in this? The one here, am I right? Yes, so she see that? I know that. I know how it works.
Mayor Pro Tem, that is something that they cannot say yes to because it will be on the record, so.
And Pro Tem, I do believe that you're bringing them forward as a challenge, because we all know that, when you're out there performing for sports, baseball season may not be well suited for you, so I don't see challenging our state qualifier here to demonstration in wrestling.
Oh, I know when not to challenge somebody, and I'm not going to challenge any of them because it'll be embarrassing for me. No, but in all seriousness, I know you guys, it's a lot of hard work, and we're, as a community, as a city, as everybody, we're very proud of all the hard work you guys do. Keep it up. You guys will carry this into your future. You guys remember this.
Thank you. And I just noticed we also have the school district board member. So if you want to say a few words, so it's good that we have that representation here, especially on such an important case. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just want to congratulate the wrestling teams. Congratulations on what you've done, and coach as well, and then the families that support them on behalf of Merced Union High School District Board. Thank you guys, and great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the council for doing this.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any public comments? All right, so bring them back to the dais, and we're gonna come down. So I'm gonna invite all the girls to come up here, and the coaches as well, and then we'll present the certificates. And then after the presentation of the certificates, we'll take a small break. So you guys can take pictures with your parents, or with the Mayor Pro Tem. Don't wrestle him down. So, and the rest of the council. Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll be down.
Yeah, don't wrestle me down. You've never seen a grown man cry, so.
Okay, so I'm gonna call, I think we have the girls first. Okay, so this is I'm gonna read what it says. City of Livingston Recognition Award presented to, and so I'm gonna name the names, in recognition of winning the Trans Valley League Championship. The Livingston City Council, city manager, and staff commend the Livingston High School varsity girls wrestling team on this accomplishment. And all right, so this one, the first one, it's presented to Faith Vasquez. So, hold on. So I understand that you went to nationals? No, I'm just kidding. Almost next time, right? Can you explain to us what, like, a little bit of what you did and your accomplishments in the wrestling team?
We made it to league, and then from there divisionals, and then I placed at divisionals, and then from there I placed at masters, and then I qualified for state.
Great. Congratulations. Thank you. I just wanted to test see if you were paying attention in public speaking class. All right. Next, we have Jandra Valencia. Next, we have Yaretzin Toribio. Congratulations. Next, we have Lourdes Rodriguez. Congratulations. Next, we have Alondra Revuelta. We have Aleida Revuelta. Evelyn Ponce. Kathleen Oswald. Congratulations. Esmeralda Nicolás. Ariana Guillén. Gabriela Gómez. Luz Gómez. Mia Ceja. Genevieve Baptista. Kiranpreet Bains. Next, we have the coaches. Cynthia Perez. Congratulations. I practiced this name, but okay, thank you. Rainier Colina. Congratulations. If you want to stay up here. Jaime Quijano. Ellie Van Gilder. How you doing? Eduardo Basurto. Congratulations. And head coach, Alfonso Paez. So at this time, officially we're going to take a small break. So everybody, Oh, yes. So we have another set of certificates, and this one is from Senator Ana Caballero. But what we're going to do is we're going to give this to Coach Pies, and then he can distribute them to you as well. So everyone gets one. And so, you want to read it?
So this is from the office of the senator. Livingston Wolves varsity wrestling team, in recognition of winning the Trans Valley League Championship. I commend the Livingston High School varsity girls wrestling team on this accomplishment. Congratulations on your success, Senator Ana Caballero.
So we'll have this and we'll hand them over to Coach Pies. And then, so at this time, we're going to take a small recess for everyone online. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. And this is the time where we're going to invite parents to come up and take pictures. So Coach, if you want to, I don't know, line them up or something like that, that way there can be, so everybody can fit in the one picture. And then I'm going to invite somebody from staff to take pictures with the council. And so that we can send it to the Modesto B, Fresno B, and everywhere else. All right, we'll be back. All right, so thank you, everyone. We're coming back to continue with our regular meeting. Next, we have announcements and reports. First report is by Supervisor Rodrigo Espinosa. Oh, yes. Oh. Okay.
You gotta stand next to the wall.
You know, that's the most work I've seen the county do in a long time.
All right, Rodrigo Espinosa, Merced County Supervisor again. First of all, I want to congratulate the Livingston High School girls wrestling again. Great, last meeting was soccer, and now the wrestling girls. So, hey, we're on a roll here in Livingston. So I think little by little, our high school is producing better athletes, and thanks to the high school and all the coaches for all the work. Also, I just want to say that this last weekend, I, along with Mayor Moran, we attended the Water Education for Latino Conference in Van Nuys, California. I think it was just a single day from Friday to Saturday event, but I think that first time that the mayor attended, but I think I sent the rest of the council an email regarding, you don't have to be Latino to attend as long as you represent Latinos. They're always encouraged. So they also have a program, it's called Well Untapped. It's a 6 months course. Actually, the first year that they had it was in 2018 when former council member Alex McCabe was here. He had the first year, and it was a whole year. I know that he wasn't able to help it, finish it, because it's 1 weekend a month, and they take you to different sites all across the state regarding water issues. So, but now then they reduced it for the second year, which I was in. I'm a graduate of the 2019 class, and it's very informative, educational. They take us to the Salton Sea, Southern California, the Los Angeles River, show us, the distribution of the water all around the state, the Bay Delta. I don't know if everybody knows, what the Delta is, where the water comes from the mountains on that side of the Sacramento, and then it goes down to the aqueduct all the way to LA and distributes to the Bay Area as well, and along there. So, and then of course every time we meet there, and with most of the other members are from Southern California, so I always express don't steal our water, but like I say, it's more about, that's why we're there. It's very important that we're there to address, to make sure that we work together all around the state to distribute the water. And of course, everything comes from the valley, and LA was there before the Central Valley, so they have more rights along, just like the Bay Area. So it's very informative, and I recommend it. I also had the opportunity to go to Santa Clara County and their recycling plant. Their recycling plant. I think back then they were recycling 9 million gallons. Can't remember if it was a month or a year, but I know it was a lot of water. So it was, recycled water. So I don't know. I still have the bottle at home. I haven't had the the chance to drink it, and I don't know if I'm going to drink it. So, or if it's any good anyway. Okay. So next year I'll send the emails again. Hopefully, if you guys are here, you guys are able to go and give more information. Plus, you get a lot of good comrades and friends across the state. So, like as the mayor saw, it was very good. So, also this morning we had a board meeting, and we approved the MCAG contract with the cities. Not with the cities. It's going to come to the cities. So it's a 30-year contract for the Transportation Authority, which is MCAG of the county. Talks about, like I said, all the issues where, transportation, the bus, and the landfill, and, what we try to give money and Measure V. So all that, it used to be a 10-year contract. Now it's a 30-year contract. So every time it got worse. So the county passed it, and now it's going to go to the cities to approve, hopefully, because I think it expires in July, so it needs to be approved. before then, and like I said, you guys have a chance to discuss it, and then we'll see what happens. One thing that I forgot to mention this morning when we approved the contract was that in can't remember the year when I was the chairman. When I went from mayor, I went to supervisor, and I was supposed to be the chairman over there, and they kind of like neglected me because Livingston had not been chairman of MCAG in about 20 years. So I don't think it was fair. And to make sure that the contract says, no director should have a consecutive term. And that year, they allow a supervisor to be consecutive term for 2 times. And when the contract says no consecutive terms, because I didn't support Measure B back then, because Livingston was not getting its fair share of a lot of stuff in the county, so that's the reason I wasn't supporting it. But like I said, in the end it passed, and that's good, because it benefits all our county, and it was a good thing. But like I said, I was just trying to fight for Livingston when I was in the council here, and I'm still fighting, except but now for the county and for Livingston as well. So I just want, like I said, there's no exceptions should be added on there, so that way I don't think it's fair that, like I said, the city of Livingston or any other city should be passed on by as chairman of the board, so we can all have a word, or on the board. Also, I want to thank Chief Hale for reminding me on Bird Road. That's where it takes to the shooting range. So I'll make sure, to remind our public works to make sure that we work on that. I also got the email from the mayor regarding Dwight Road, and there's always, like I said, I already addressed it. It's on my priority list, and it's supposed to be worked on hopefully this summer, along with the Lincoln, and both sides are Dwight, and hopefully we get done the one over here, Magnolia. So I know there's a long list, but like I said, there's not enough money to go around. So like I said, we'll just go year after year. So I think that's all I have right now, unless you guys have any questions from the council or the public.
Any questions, council? Public? Anybody on the phone?
From the school district?
Anybody in the chamber? So I just want to say thank you for, I know that, and I appreciate the residents sharing their concerns, and I know that that email in particular was in reference to Dwight, and I know we seen those emails before, and so it's always I'm okay with forwarding and making that connection with the supervisors and the county CEO, and then once again thanks to Mr. Raul Mendez for replying and acknowledging, especially to the resident, that and about their concerns. So,
yeah. Well, I was a little upset that when we did the north part of Dwight, all the way I live, they didn't finish that little piece, which is only a quarter of a mile. And like I said, with Paul here, they've been addressing that road because people walk all around that area, and that's for safety.
Safety.
It needs to be widened. And half of the road is county, and half is city. But if we can work with the city on to make sure that like I said, whatever funds need to be traded in to make sure that it gets finished, as well as the south part of the freeway and F Street. I also addressed Peach, because it's getting really bad. So with that, thank you very much.
all right, thank you.
Rodrigo,
Yes, sir. Ma'am, I'm sorry.
it was maybe about 3 years ago. Earlier I heard you mention your discretionary fund, but this didn't come out of that. But you had said that you had fought for Livingston to get its fair share, and we were talking about the veterans. And it was promised, if I recall, it was about $380,000 that
Correct.
was supposed to be given. Whatever came of that? Where did we end up? Because I'm not clear on that.
I think they fixed the air conditioning system on there. I don't know if they fixed, there's an issue that they were fixing the roof and as well as the windows. So I was going to check on that with Mr. Wells. But I think they fixed all the ACs around the county on the BFW halls.
So did all that money get was it allocated to them?
I don't think it costs that much, but I know they've been addressing a lot of the BFWs, but I can check if you want.
If you could follow up to ensure that those funds, because I know that you did say that they were going to get that money, and I just want to make sure that,
Well, they don't get it. The county does the work, for those funds. As long as it's budgeted within that money, it should be addressed all that, and plus whatever else needs to be done on site, whether it's the kitchen or the windows or the flooring, to make sure there's no asbestos tiles on the floor. Because I know a lot of the old buildings have asbestos tiles, so hopefully this community, the BFW hall doesn't have any with that.
okay, so the funding was still,
Well, it should still be there.
okay,
But I
please
can check
follow
it.
up.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Next, we have city staff announcements and reports. Police chief, introduction of new police department personnel.
Before I introduce the new employees of the police department, you guys are probably going to get tired of me talking about the LPR cameras. But last week, there was a string of 11 armed robberies in the county, 3 of which occurred in the city of Livingston. There were a few that happened in the city of Merced and a couple in the county area. Our LPR cameras actually caught the suspect vehicle and made the ultimate, description of the car and allowed them to be apprehended by law enforcement personnel. So another success story for those cameras. Next, Lieutenant Ramirez and I, Sergeant Kirk, who had to leave, super excited about our new personnel that we have with us today. The first that I'm going to introduce is Officer Anthony Cotta. Born and raised in Dos Palace, he comes to us with a few years of experience. So I welcome him into the city, and I know that he's going to give us many years of service, and he'll do us a great job, and I'm going to give him an opportunity to speak before I introduce the others.
Thanks, Chief. As you said, Officer Anthony Cotta, just excited to be here, excited to serve the community, very thankful, feel very blessed to have the opportunity to do so. So thank you for having me.
The next officer that I'll introduce is Officer Jason Smith. He comes to us from Outwater. He's got a couple of years of experience, and so I'll let him speak. Again, we're happy to have him.
Hello, my name is Officer Smith. Of course, very happy to be here. I've only been working for a few weeks, and I've gotten a chance to meet several of you and several just outstanding members of the community. So thank you, and I hope to have a long, fruitful career here. Thank you.
I saved the best for last. This guy is the man of the hour. He's been busy for the last couple of weeks. Eduardo Magaldo, who is our code compliance officer, and he's a very popular man around town. Super excited to have him, as we all are, and I'll let him introduce himself or say a few words.
Good evening. My name is Eduardo Malgado. Like Chief said, I'm from Turlock. I understand this is the first position the City of Livingston has with code enforcement, and I am very excited to be here and help this position and this code enforcement and animal control develop.
That being said, and the introduction's done, just to give a staff report, we're still down 1 police officer position, and again, still trying to recruit dispatchers. We're continuing those efforts. The dispatch position is very hard to recruit for, and once the recruitment's done, even retain. So we're going to keep working towards our goal to get fully staffed. Any questions?
Yes, just real quick. How many other officers other officer positions are vacant currently?
One,
Just one?
just one.
Okay. All right. Good.
We had one slated for that, and we actually talked about that prior. He chose to take a position with another city, so we canceled that. We've got a couple other applications where we're going to start doing the interview process and going through the background investigation process.
All right. Thank you. Council, any questions? Yes.
No questions, just a big thank you and welcome.
Congratulations as well. Chief,
Yes, ma'am.
and when you talked about the dispatching positions, did we not have a new hire in dispatch?
No,
Not recently?
no. We had a dispatcher that left and went to the highway patrol. For whatever reason, she didn't like that, and so she came back,
She didn't like work. She didn't like what?
working for the highway patrol, so she came back.
To Livingston?
Yes.
And who was that? You didn't bring her tonight?
No, I mean, she's been here for 7 years. I didn't feel a need to,
Oh, I thought we had a new.
no, we have no new dispatchers.
Thank you.
Mr. Ramirez, any words?
Thank you for your time tonight. And again, I want to welcome the three new employees to the department, and they're all in good hands, and they've all been through in the process of the different parts of the training right now. So
Great.
I believe Smith and Cotter on phase 1, and Mogado just finished 4 weeks of training. So he's, like Chief mentioned earlier, he's by himself this week.
Good.
Already working. So
All right.
thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. All right, so moving forward, next we have city manager announcements and reports.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have city council members' announcements and reports. Mr. Roth?
Thank you, Mayor. On March 26th, I attended the Nagar Kirtan Sikh Parade. It was a nice little parade, long walk, great food. Got a little history lesson there, but it was very, very nice. And then on April 1st, I attended the Splash of Color Run at Memorial Park. That was fun. Had a good time there. Became a blue gentleman, thanks to somebody on this dais. But it was a good time, and I hope to participate next year. That's it, sir. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Mann?
Thank you, Mayor. Kind of piggyback off of Councilman Roth's statement. There was a great turnout at the Nagarikitan or parade that was held at the Peace Street Temple. Everything went very smoothly, and there was a great crowd with loads of participation from Livingston residents. I want to give a special thank you to the Livingston Police Department for their showing and keeping us safe. Also had a great time at the Color Run with the team here. There was a great showing there as well. Big thank you to Jackie and the Rec Committee, as well as Steve Bassey and all the other volunteers from the Indian Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Ms. Soto?
The only thing that I have is that Thursday night is the Downtown Mercado that the Merced Hispanic Chamber of Commerce sponsors, our hosts for Merced County. It is going to be the opening of our first Mercado for the year. So starting at 6 p.m., April 6th, it's coming up Thursday. It's downtown Merced. It's going to be a good time. So we're celebrating because we had to postpone it from last month because of the weather. We're still going to continue and recognizing women throughout Merced County for Women's History Month. So come on out, enjoy the downtown vendors. We do have vendors that do come out from Livingston that we hope to have them come here in Livingston and have their own businesses opening up storefront downtown, so in our downtown. But come out to Merced downtown. It's going to be a good time.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say, as Mr. Roth and Mr. Mann mentioned, the Sikh Parade of the Hola Mala was a couple of weeks ago. That was the city's 25th event. And in the 25 years that we've held the event, I don't think the Indian community or anybody can say how much or say how appreciative we are of the great support that we've had from our police department, public works, city hall, sheriff's office, highway patrol, everybody, each year. The support is always there. There's nothing for the community to worry about other than to enjoy the event. So it is always deeply appreciated. And of course, last weekend, or Saturday, we had the color run / holy. That was rather a unique mix. It was really, really good. Just the sheer number of people we had, kids outside enjoying the fresh air, running, and then, and then watching a couple of our council members turn into the blue man, another into, I don't know what that color mix was, but nevertheless, but to show the power of the Mayor Pro Tem, I had a family member take out a family member at the color run. So would you, Mr. Wald, would you care to tell us what that color on you?
My nephew.
Yeah, that's the power of the Mayor Pro Tem, to say turn your family member on you. Of course, these two weaklings had to do their own work, on me, but that's okay. But seriously, it was fun. It was a great event. And each year, I have to thank our recreation department, as small as they are. They managed to do it, and again, it's the entire city coming together. Public Works, the police department was there doing their support. Of course, the community participating, council out there. That's what always makes Livingston unique. Our willingness to help each other, have fun, and just work together. So I hope we continue to do this, and I think we will.
Thank you. Next, I have my report, and just something that I forgot to mention. Our legal counsel is on the phone. She was not able to be here today, but she is on the phone just in case anybody has any questions for legal. She is available. So part of my report is on March 16, I attended the MCAG meeting, and there was quite a few things that were adopted and some of the things that were discussed. Especially one of the items was the One Voice platform and some of the different priorities for the different agencies that will be participating on the trip to Washington on May 9th through the 12th. That participants will have 2 days of meetings in Washington on the 10th and the 11th, a total of 27 meetings to accomplish in 2 days. So I foresee that it's going to be some very busy 2 days, and we hope to accomplish what we have in mind, and especially for some of our projects here locally. There was also an amendment that was adopted in regards to the regional transportation plan. And there was also it was adopted the Regional Early Action Plan Grant Program, which eventually the city will be looking at a $109,961 that will be granted to the city of Livingston from the REAP grant program. I'm sure that information will come to the city manager a little bit later. And on March 26, Sunday, March 26, I also attended, along with the council, the Hola Mola Sikh Parade. And it was, it's just, I love the food. Any chance I have to get some some Indian food. It's it's great. And the best thing is like a buffet. You have like so many different options. You just go from table to table and just grab a little bit of something. And one of my favorite things is the sugarcane juice. It's fresh on the spot, and and I understand the only thing is just the cups are very small, but there's thousands of people, so that, it's just supposed to be just a little taste, But I love that food, and the opportunity, it's to mingle and get to know more people. Actually, I got to get to know more people. Well, they know me, but it's hard for me to remember everyone, But I was really glad that we were able to have a lot of conversations with different people, and also they share their concerns. Actually, talking about concerns, streets is one of them, potholes, and so I got that reminds me to share some of that information with staff, which I will at a later email.
If I could interject, that was
Yes.
actually shared with the manager, and actually there we took care of it, the potholes over on Walnut, yeah, there you go.
Perfect. Thank you. Teamwork. Good. So the Sikh parade, and it's it means it's just like an act of friendship and service, which it's great to see. March 29th, I participated as part of the Ana Maria Fuentes Scholarship Selection Committee, and I'm sure many of us have heard of that scholarship, Ana Maria Fuentes Scholarship, which is through the MCAG agency, but through the process and being part of that committee and the selection committee and reviewing all of the applicants, I learned about small part of her life story and realized that she was part of Livingston. She was a resident of Livingston, and she went through the school system here in Livingston, and I was really happy to hear some of her story, and I think that and then part of the conversation afterwards was that fund needs some additional funding because it's going to soon run out, and I was the first one to volunteer, to participate in maybe a dinner as a fundraiser, and once if that comes through, then I will be providing more information about that. And I think it's it's great. It's great that someone like her story and the work that she did and who she was and her struggles, not only represent or could be a good role model for others, but it's just something to continue having in the community in the form of a scholarship for college. March 30th, we had a participant of the One Voice trip. I attended a meeting where some of the details were discussed and what were some of the things that needed to be accomplished. A lot of information. And then also something that already was mentioned by Supervisor Rodrigo Espinosa was attending the March 31st and April 1st water conference. And in this, I think that is, I actually did attend the water conference last year. I think it was in Selma. But, it's like the first time when you attend a new conference, there's so much information that, I learned some things, but there was so much information that I had no idea what they were talking about. And then later having the opportunity to learn about the water treatment plant, recycling and all that, then now I have a much better understanding. So any opportunity that I can have to further educate myself, the better. And this time that I attended this water conference, now I had a better understanding and I was able to gather some information on some of the programs that are being successful in other agencies that hopefully we can bring back to our community and help our community. So that was on 31st and April 1st. And then this morning I had the first chat and coffee with the mayor from 10 to 12, which turned to 10 to 1 p.m. And, instead of 2 hours, it was 3 hours. And I really appreciate everyone that was able to attend and having the opportunity to listen to some of the concerns. And in the setting, we wanted it to make it not so formal, just more like just having people ask questions without being in this very formal setting. And not like right on the spot, but we were able to provide information, kind of if it was concerns regarding PD or anything with PD services, we kind of had Chief here, and then others related to water, others related to street and parks and stuff like that. So having staff here and also the interim city manager, we were able to provide most of the information on the spot. So it's always helpful, and I'm very appreciative of everyone that was able to make it. I will have another chat and coffee schedule in about a month, and then that one will be in the afternoon from 4 to 6 to allow other section of the community to be able to attend at a different time. And I will try to have that either monthly or bi-monthly, and as needed. But then again, residents are always welcome to contact me via text, call, social media, or I chat with a lot of people when out on the street or at the store, and whenever I see them. So, and also there was there was a spay and neuter question, a spay and neuter voucher question. So that was good. And just to let everybody know, you can register your dog for free, and you can also get a name tag by going to the PD. And that's it. So, and thank you to County CEO Raul Mendez for addressing that concern that was forwarded to him and supervisor. And also, I was not able to attend the color run, but I was able to follow up based on pictures and videos, and thank you to the big, huge recreation department for accomplishing another successful event. And but I'll try to be here. Hopefully there's no other conference on the same day, but thank you, Jackie, and all of your department members, so for that effort and that success. And to all the volunteers, I think, almost 100 volunteers. Yeah. So, without volunteers, I'm not sure how successful that would be. Students, other nonprofits, and so thank you to everyone that volunteers, and anyone that wants to volunteer for next year, better take your spot now. Contact Jackie. All right. Thank you, and that's the end of my report.
One thing, if I may.
Yes.
So while we have Supervisor Rodrigo here, in the past, and it's something that came up, it popped across Facebook, so I wanted to be able to bring this forward because it does have to do with business that goes on in the city of Livingston. And it was a recent post regarding always towing. And in the past, the city of Livingston, we've put out for regional providers and for a tow service and contracts. And in full transparency, I have been talking to the interim city manager in regards to the contract process and how this comes about. So I want to be able to, maybe if the supervisor would come forward and talk a little bit about it. But at the time, I also remember when I was first on council that Paul was our mayor back then, when he had brought forward a contract that would allow always towing to be the only service provider within the city of Livingston. And I know that we voted that down, and Paul is kind of looking at me like, do you recall that? No. That
I don't recall, but then I can look into it.
Okay, so the point is, I'm seeing that there are some complaints in regards to our toast service here in Livingston, and I wanted to ask the question because I know this was brought up at a previous meeting in regards to a grand jury investigation regarding tow services for Livingston, which involved Rodrigo and Gerpal was also mentioned in that. So I just want to ask, what is our current situation with the tow services that we have, and if you can speak on that, and who are the providers for the contracts that we have in Livingston?
Hold on. So legal, since this is something that is not on the agenda, should that, I'm sorry?
Since this was not part of Supervisor Espinosa's presentation, if Councilmember Soto would like more information to be brought back to council at a future meeting, it would be more appropriate to request that during her council comments.
So if I'm hearing that correctly, that could be part of council direction on a future agenda item? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to be respectful. Just comment regarding the process for towing. Can I make a comment?
Council?
Because I don't believe the city council brings that up. I believe the process for selecting towing companies is done through CHP and the police department. I don't believe it's done by any council members. Council members don't bring contracts forward for towing companies.
One second, please. Legal? I still believe that this is not on the agenda and should not be discussed any further because it is an item that is not, it's related to specific business that the city is connected to, and it's related to an ordinance or an agreement or an MOU that was previously approved by a previous city council. And so that is an action item that is not on the agenda, and I don't believe we should be discussing this item right now. Legal? Can you provide?
Yeah, it's not necessarily an action item, but you guys are getting into having it be a discussion item that is not agendized now that we have two council members discussing it. And so it would be best to move on to the next agenda item. And if this is something that Councilmember Soto would like staff to bring more information back on, then that can be direction given, but no more discussion should be held regarding this matter.
Thank you, Christina. I understand that, and I will bring that up towards the end of our meeting for a further agenda item.
Yeah, I just want to comment that the chief is the one that reviews all the contracts and brings them to, I guess, people whatever business wants to come to the city, they go through the police department, not even to the council. He's the one that approves the contracts and then renews every year. That's just a process. I don't have anything to do with always towing. It's my brother, but, we're not even on speaking terms. So, like I said, whatever he does, that's on his own. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we can bring that up during future agenda items. Appreciate that. So moving forward, next we have the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered routine or non-controversial and will be enacted by one vote unless separate action is requested by the city manager or city council member. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the city council or city manager request that specific items be removed. Council, what is your wish?
I had a question, though. I'm sorry.
Yes.
If I may.
Go ahead.
It is the item number 4. If you would allow, Anthony, I did have a question in regard to that, and I should have.
Okay. So do you want to leave it in the consent agenda, or you want to pull it for separate discussion?
Well, yeah, leave it.
Leave it?
But
Okay.
I do want to be able to ask Anthony a
Okay.
question in regards to item number 4.
Okay. Council, any other questions with anything else on the consent agenda? Okay, so we'll go ahead and have that question. Ms. Soto?
I just wanted to know, because this is a rental agreement, but how outdated or how old is this, the equipment that we're talking about here?
That is the original generator that was installed when the plant was built. So it's old, it's over 20 years old.
And how often are the how often are the operators inspecting this equipment?
This equipment doesn't run all the time. It's there. It's a backup generator for emergency purposes, but basic checks, oil, fluids. We do have contractors that come out as well just to provide maintenance on them, on these backup generators. But as of now, that failed generator, I mean, it's old, it's antiquated, hard to find parts for. And like I said, it's over 20 years old.
It's over 20 years old. I just wanted to make sure that that was put out there, because I'm just thinking you're talking about the regular maintenance, sort of like how we would do for cars, correct?
Right.
Checking on them, make sure that they're operating, so that so it doesn't all come up at once and it's an emergency. We have to enact all these.
We got our money out of it.
I'm sure.
It lasted a long time.
20 years, yes. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions, council? Legal, just want to double check, is this something that I need to bring up to for public comment? Hello, Christina, are you there?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. The public comment on the consent calendar itself is sufficient. We don't have to have separate public comment for this item.
We don't have to.
All right, okay. So, council, what is your desire in regards to the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
So we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Roth.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ross?
Yes.
Councilmember Mann?
Yes.
Councilmember Soto?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samar?
Yes.
Mayor Moran?
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
Next we
It's almost dinner time, isn't it?
Next, we have discussion and potential action items. Item number 8, discussion and direction on the 4th of July event.
Would you mind? Good evening, everyone. So staff was directed to bring back some information from our last meeting, and we talked about a cost estimate. We're looking for direction from the council on the following: the fireworks, live music bands, alcohol sales, and there was a little history and background. And so I just wanted to update our estimate. So the generator, of course, $1,000, bands, $2,000, stage and sound, $4,500. If we were to fence the entire soccer field to open the whole upper area into a beer garden, it would be $1,169.10. As you can see, the porta potties, the cost and promotion, house notifications, some other dining tents, chairs. A small fireworks show is $25,000. It runs 10 minutes. And our president of the 4th of July Festival, Mr. Julio Valadez, got a letter back from Pyro. Pismo canceled their show, so we have an operator for our show on the 4th, should you guys choose to have this event. And there's always the option of having a 15-minute drone show. The cost on the 4th of July would be $100,000 to $150,000, but if we do it on the 3rd, we can cut it back to $40,000 to $130,000. So this is at the council's pleasure, and so the expenditures that are not included in that would be the $1,100 and change for the fence. So this does not include police and public works and finance time to collect monies and so forth. So we're seeking direction to find out exactly what you all would like to have, and you can give us your advice.
Thank you, Jackie. Council? Comments, suggestions, recommendations?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
I strongly believe that we do not have the money for the drone show. As unique as it would be, I'm leaning more towards the actual fireworks. Even at, I think it was 25,000, did I get that right? Mm-hmm. We can even probably put a little more and go into maybe a 20-minute show if we need to. I think we'll get better return. And the fact that it is available on the 4th is even better. So I think I was kind of disheartened when I got that. It says that they may not be available, but apparently they are available. So that's a load off our mind. I think people would appreciate it. Now, the question for Jackie, whoever wants to answer, at the least meeting, which I was not able to attend, the mayor had brought forward a question of non-explosive fireworks, or the silent ones, whatever you want to call them. Are those still available or not available? Does anybody know? They're not available? Okay, well, I strongly think we should go towards the actual fireworks.
Can I say something about your question?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Valadez.
What you're trying to say, it's silent fireworks, and those are not available for that price.
They're available at a higher price.
They could be.
No, you know what? It's too close now. We don't want to lose anything,
And that 25,000 can probably do a 20-minute show, but it's not recommended because there'll be less time in between each firework.
Well, what I was saying, and I think that even though it's 25,000, we can up the cost and get a longer fireworks with the more frequency. I want to let the council decide that, but we could probably get a better return on our investment in the regular fireworks.
Thank you. Council, any other comments?
Yes.
Questions?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to go along with that. I mean, I think the public needs to have the fireworks show on the 4th now that it's available, but just the fireworks. If we were going to do any events, planning everything else, we don't have enough time right now. I think what we should do is plan for next year and have possibly the 3-day event, which the city is normally, put on. I mean, a lot of people always used to comment that Livingston had the best fireworks, the best, entertainment, things like that. So that's my suggestion, just saving up for the following year.
Yeah, I remember,
Just have
Mr.
the
Roth,
fireworks show this year.
we used to have bragging rights over Atwater, over the biggest fireworks in the valley, But we'll bring it back.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm in agreement as well. If the recent events, including the color run and the Nutty Kit, didn't have any indication, I think people are ready to come back out and enjoy some outdoor activities. And so I'm in agreement with everybody else so far. Thank you.
So I heard a couple of different things. One, I heard some comments in regards to, or suggestions, having just the fireworks show and others. So I just want to if you can be more clear as to what are your thoughts about one or the other. Mr. Roth mentioned Just the fireworks, is that correct? And there's information or proposal, or staff is seeking direction to fireworks, live music bands, or alcohol sales. So,
Yeah.
sure, go ahead.
So just so you guys know, so I know you mentioned that the city used to put on. It was the city a very long time ago, before 2009, and then it was a committee of citizens that did it with the help of the city, providing facilities and some help as well. But just to clarify what you're saying, Mr. Roth, is doing two bands, it doesn't take any planning. They just got to be available. Alcohol sales, if I had suggested that the Livingston Police Foundation handle it, I think they can handle it. It's not a lot of work. Most of the work will be for the fireworks show, preparing the area and fencing in and that area. We got to keep people off that area. So it would be more closing the streets and providing police support around the festival, and so that's what it would do. But just something like that, it wouldn't, just two bands, and I'm thinking just the local bands. I haven't even asked them if they're available anyways, but it wouldn't, that's not a lot of work, two bands. It's the big production of 3 days, that's what's a lot of work.
Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, Julio, for clarifying that.
Council, any other?
Yeah, with that said, I think we go ahead and add the fireworks, live music bands, and the alcohol sales. Might as well put that out.
Okay. Ms. Soto?
So as much as 4th of July is one of my favorite times of year to celebrate because it is our Independence Day, and the whole reasoning, I had even joined with Julio like in 2013 with the committee and helping bringing that forward. I hear a lot of mention of, that we did. It was the biggest in the area, and super proud to have that. And I know last year we had wanted to bring that forward, and just sensing the feel from like Jackie last year, and just that it would have been an added to her because there was not really an active committee. And so I have been talking with city manager about how we can move forward. But with this year, what I hear, and we're willing to put that money forward. We do have the funding set aside for this event, and from what I understand, it was kind of earmarked for this, for 15-minute show, bringing everybody out. It just seems like, I know that our residents do want this, and the amount of time and effort to be putting into I want to say maybe this might just last, if we do the fireworks show happening about 9 o'clock, 9:20ish. Couple of bands before that playing an hour, so starting maybe about 6 and last maybe up until 10. It's a lot of money to put forward for a fireworks show that's going to be under 20 minutes. So with that being said, I'm thinking that money could be better justified in other areas that the city can use towards programs, helping our veterans, mental health. But if it's the wish of our residents that they see this event, and I know what the expectation is that they want the bigger and better show. And we're not able to do that, and we're not prepared to do that for this year. But moving forward, if more information can be brought to us on our options to have the 4th of July with a committee, because we can't, I hear Julio, he's willing to do some of the work, but a 3-day event that our city might be, would be expecting, because this is what has been practiced in previous years. with the carnival and locking in everything that we needed to do. For this year, the fireworks, it's the wish. It sounds like the majority of the council already, has said their part in it. It's a lot of money. It's what our residents would like, because that's what I've heard is the fireworks show. But scaling it down for this year, and that's what we have to bring the residents fully aware that this is a scaled down event. It's not the expectations, because I don't want it to be put out there and then the residents come and say, oh my gosh, really 10 minutes of fireworks, and be disappointed, and then we've just blown $35,000 on the fireworks, pyro, and then all the effort and work that we've had to pay our city staff to prepare for the event. And we don't even know if we have, the other components to add to that.
Thank you.
May I?
Yes, go ahead.
So I just want to say, it doesn't matter what we do. There will be people complaining, so be prepared for that. It doesn't matter what we do. We've done what some people have said is the best show out there, and we still got complaints. So it doesn't matter what you do. Like Maria's saying, they're going to complain no matter what. So just be prepared to get some complaints, because it's going to be if you guys decide to do it, a one-day show or whatever, it doesn't matter what we do. There will be happy people, but there will always be people complaining. So be prepared for that if you decide to do that.
Thank you. So one thing I like to say, yes, and I think the idea and the proposal is to do this one day, this year. But I think also as part of other conversations, I think it's also a good idea to start planning ahead, not only just for this year, but for next year and possibly 2 or 3 years down the road. I mean, that way we're not here now and every year going through the same thing. But if we plan and plan for the future, eventually, probably at a later date, not tonight, but we can have a proposal coming back to us to approve something for 3 years, for multiple years, and then we don't have to be here every year going through the same thing, and then staff and your department already knows what you guys need to do without getting direction from council every time. So, but for now, one day seems fine. I mean. Although and I always said, it's not what I like or what I want, but it's what I think would be best for the community, for the majority of the community. And we're not going to keep everyone happy. It's going to be the majority. Well, at least that's my hope. Eventually I hope that one day, maybe not next year, maybe not the following year, but one day that we're able to afford or have no noise fireworks, but we still, anyways, but that's for the future. And then I would be okay with having fireworks, live music, and alcohol sales in this one event, and with the larger fence, and just try our best, and hopefully next year we can make it a 3-day event with planning and with having the carnival set the dates aside for us, and just go from there. So are there any comments, questions, responses before I go out to public comment?
Oh, I just want to say that in the different fireworks companies that I talked with, everybody has their agendas normally set by the end of November. And so they had said that if you want, their first people, you need to be in before the end of November. So I would suggest that when we bring the contract forward, that we maybe go ahead and commit to 1, 2, 3, however many years you guys want to, with this company, so we have them already, and then we can work into the budget this year for next, because this will get paid, the other half of it, and then the deposit for the following year. In this budget system. But I just want to make a comment about the residents. From how I've been feeling and what I've been hearing, they're going to be grateful to have something on the 4th regardless. Like Julio said, there'll be the naysayers, but we got to think there's the 99 that will be happy. with the 1% that'll complain no matter what. But I really do feel that people will be grateful for having an event starting us back up into our 4th of July tradition.
So with that said, now I have a question. Is this, and this is for staff, is this something, if we are to consider a multiple year contract with the fireworks company, is that something that you will be able to work with as far as budget-wise, and considering that if we decide to be a multiple-year plan?
Yeah, Mayor, the thing that we would just do, a couple things, obviously the language in the agreement to make sure that we've got those optional years in the future, but, solidify them so that we don't have to keep coming back. And then the second part is the budget item, which just gets included and wrapped up in the city's budget during the budget process. So that's how we would budget for on ongoing years.
Okay, so let me go out for public comment. Let me go to the public comment on the phone. Is there any public comment on the phone for this item? Okay, so hearing none, coming back to the chamber. Any comments on the chamber or responses to the questions in regards to this item?
All right, so just if you do the 3-year contract, remember that probably the one of the main things that costs more money is the fireworks. So if you're committing to that, just put some money aside for that. And then if it's a 3-day event, you can bring a carnival company back, and that will bring back probably that amount of money. So it would probably pay for the fireworks itself, but there's other costs as well. So keep that in mind.
Thank you. Any additional public comment? Okay, I'm bringing that back to the dais. So yes, I mean, that's, so this would be more related to specifically to the fireworks company. I would like, I don't know how the council feels. Actually, staff, would this, if we say 3 years, would that be okay with no issues from staff?
We don't have any issues. We would just bring back the contract, hopefully at the next meeting so that we can solidify it. Tonight, what we do want is to make sure that we can call them tomorrow, get in an email, say, yes, we are going to move forward with this for the 4th of July of this year.
And with that'll come half the cost. I mean, they require 50% down, so we'll need to be prepared to pay the $12,500.
Okay.
So if I may?
Yes.
So the conversation that I'm hearing, we're going to lock them in, but we also need to make sure that we have an ongoing contract. So, Jose, what I hear you saying, you kept referring to we and to staff. Now, is this something that is actually going to fall under the Department of Recreation? Because at this point, we don't have anybody moving forward that is behind organized. I mean, I'm not going to speak for Julio, but he's the person that we are looking to orchestrate this event. But who's doing it moving forward? Because we're talking about adding in a couple more years underneath this contract to make sure that we have somebody available for the next year. And are we designating city staff to be behind this? Because at this point, we don't have anybody.
Mayor, if I could just chime in on a couple things. I think on the very onset of this discussion, I think there was a question from Julio regarding, hey, if you guys want to move forward on it, I'm really willing to take the lead. It was just the funding for this year that was the question. I think what I hear you saying is a larger question about maybe potentially having a committee that existed in previous years. And however the council wants to set that up, if there's a desire to set up something like an ad hoc with a couple council members and then other members of the community to help take it back to what it was in previous years, we're happy to take whatever direction that the council wants to provide from the staff level. So that's really a question. If the council wants to set up that ad hoc, we're happy to work collaboratively. If there's a different idea, we're happy to work that way. It's really just about what the council wants it to be with their imprints on it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, to me, I think what we should do is we should for tonight's action, we should give the direction for the fireworks, live music, and bands and alcohol sales, and then have the staff bring us for the multi-year event, how are we going to handle that? There is an option if you don't have the committee, like the 4th of July, can the Recreation Committee take that on? Or we don't know. I mean, ideas can be brought forward at a later date, but for tonight, I think we need to at least give direction so we can sign the contract and at least get through the July 4th for this year at least.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I am going to go with, since Mr. Valadez did clarify that it wouldn't be that much more problems to have a ban of alcohol, things to that effect, then I would, yes, go for the fireworks, live bands, and alcohol also.
Thank you. Any additional comments you want to provide?
Yeah, well, what I want to say is I'm willing to help in the coming years if you guys need my help. And I can guide whoever, whether there has been other people that are interested in being part of the committee, new people. We just, I do not think I could have got the funds this year like we usually raise money. It wouldn't happen, especially without a carnival company. There was no carnival company available. So I am willing to help. If you guys want my help, if you don't, that's fine. I got a lot of stuff to do. So, but I am willing to help.
Any additional comments on the phone? Public comments in regards to this item? But coming back to the chamber, any additional comments in the chamber before I bring it back to the dais? Okay, coming back to the dais. Jackie, anything else? So, go ahead.
I can bring it up to the Rec Commission on our next agenda and get some input from them. Maybe they would like to, or maybe one of them would like to start helping form another committee to support Mr. Valadez.
So this is what I foresee. This is what I envision with the support of the council. I think it's very important to secure those dates. I mean, the 4th of July is going to fall on whatever date it is going to fall, and if we just go with the 4th of July, whatever day it is, I mean, that's that's one thing that we can do, plan for multiple years today, this year, 25, well, 23, 24, and 25. And then as time progresses and as we start planning for the next following years, we can figure out, do we need a committee? Do we need a NODHOC? Do we need more volunteers? That is something that could be added later on through the Recreation Department and Commission, okay? Or unless other options come back, then, by all means. So, I don't think anybody's going to say no to volunteer work. But that is my point of view.
May I?
Yes, go ahead.
So just keep in mind that when the 4th falls smack in the middle of the week, it's going to be harder to do a 3-day event. Keep that in mind. So it may not always be on the 4th. We'd had to change it, and people are not happy when we do that, but keep that in mind for future planning. So there's just a lot more to it than just we're going to do it on the 4th, especially with the carnival company and stuff. People can't take the whole week off or whatever. So there's things that we got to think about. It is hard, but I think today what you guys are looking at is this part only. Maybe the rest of the conversation can be held later with whatever you guys want to do for the future years.
Thank you. Is there any additional comment on the phone? Chambers, coming back to the dais.
Are you looking for a motion?
Questions, comments, suggestions, motions?
I make the motion that we... Somebody on the phone?
Mayor, this is Christina. If I may, this is not an action item, so we just need a consensus from the council to direct staff to negotiate the contract and bring it back and to do whatever they need to do the alcohol sales, the bans, reserve everything that the council has agreed to.
All right, thank you, Christina. All right, so what is the wish, staff?
I just have one. I think I heard the consensus here. The only one question is the larger expanded alcohol area. I did hear the mayor mention the larger area. Just need clarification from the rest of the council if they are wishing for that larger area so that we can move forward on that as well.
Council?
I actually had a question for the chief. Chief, do you foresee an issue with that larger alcohol area? The large beer garden, as it's been called?
I do not. We had a large alcohol area at the Sweet Potato Festival, and like I reported last week, we had 0 issues.
Thank you. I vote to move forward with the larger beer garden, as it's called. Thank you.
So can you clarify? I didn't attend at that time for the beer gardens. Is that an area large enough, fenced around? Because I heard it was the entire Max Foster. Are we able to walk around like open container outside?
No, so the open containers have to stay inside the fenced area. We have people that are monitoring that, and the idea is to keep the alcohol inside that fenced-in area, so it's not all over the complex, if that makes sense. In the area at the Sweet Potato Festival, Jackie, correct me if I'm wrong, it would seat at least 100 to 150 people.
Mike? Thank you.
The area of the fencing that was asked for does the entire soccer field, 300 by 150.
Yeah, and we had 0 issues.
Council, any additional questions? So I would be okay with the fencing of just the soccer field and to be able to contain that alcohol within that area. And but then again, what's the rest of the council? I know that. What's the rest of the council think about that?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Roth, go ahead.
I'm good with it all. So.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Me too.
All right. Ms. Soto?
I just know that when we talk about the alcohol sales, it does generate the funds necessary, and I know this was a question posed to Jackie. The previous is the money generated for it was to support the youth programs, and I just wanted to know, I don't know where Julio had said that maybe somebody else is going to man it and what percentage. Those are going to be details that are going to be worked out as you get your people together, Julio?
I think that they keep, the police foundation keeps the whole money for the beer unless the city wants some of it. And the parking will be the police explore, so they're available and they'll keep all the money for it unless the city wants some of it or recreation wants some of it. That's what I think.
So, staff?
So we would need to work out those details.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Jackie, anything else? All right. So, does that give you enough direction?
Yes, it does, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Next item, number 9. Discussion and direction on amending the fireworks ordinance and associated fines.
Hello?
Go ahead.
So I came to you, Mayor, Council, a couple of weeks ago to talk about the fireworks ordinance. And Christina, I know you're on the phone. If you could chime in whenever you feel it's appropriate. Our current city code right now only allows me to raise the fines to $100, $200, and $300 because our municipal code considers it an infraction. I know that we had previously talked about raising the fines to $2,000, $3,000, and $5,000 in a calendar year for consecutive violations. That would raise the level up to a misdemeanor. So I'm looking for you guys for direction on what you want to do. If we want to raise the illegal aerial fireworks ordinance up to a misdemeanor level, we're going to have to redo the entire Title IV of the municipal code, which defines the fines. Christina, can you chime in and help me out?
Yeah, so the municipal code defines infractions. It aligns with the government code and the limits placed on public agencies for finding infractions and misdemeanors. And it does limit infractions and misdemeanors the same way your code already does, which is cap at 500 for infractions and 1,000 for misdemeanors. For violations of building, like local building and health codes, such as the fireworks ordinance, I think that it would definitely fall within a health code for the local agency. They can go up to as high as 2,300, but that's for a violation in 2 violations in 2 years. So the city cannot legally go above these limits. And so I think the question staff is posing now is, what limits does the council want to impose? And if so, we will have to amend Chapter 4 of the municipal code, which lays out the fines and defines what the maximums are, as well as amending the current fireworks ordinance, which really only contemplates commercial sales and use.
Thank you, Christina.
I'm willing to do whatever the council's wishes are. Obviously, to change Chapter 4, it's going to take some work and quite a bit of time, but if that's what the council's wishes are, I'm more than willing to sit down and start, pounding it out.
So, Christina, if I'm hearing you correctly, what I'm hearing is that we can, there's nothing we can do about the fines, so we have to keep what we currently have.
So you can amend the fine to include the upper limit associated with local building and health code violations, and that will increase the fireworks ordinance fine. It just won't increase them up to the amount originally contemplated, which was the 1,000, 3,000, 5,000. The limit of that violation that the government code allows is $2,300 for a second violation in 2 years. And so you can increase the fines at the same time as passing a new fireworks ordinance addressing use on private property and, use outside of what's already allowed in the municipal code.
Right now, our municipal code refers back to the health and safety code, so there is no administrative fine for illegal aerial fireworks. It literally refers back to the health and safety code, which is the state mandated fine of $1,500, but that goes to the court.
Okay. Council, staff. I'm sorry, Christina. I was trying my best to really get to, I'm getting old and my ears are not that 100% no more. So, Mr. if you can recap it.
So here's
just to make sure I got everything.
Yeah, in terms of the policy issues for the council, it sounds like in 2022, there was discussions about increasing the penalties associated with fireworks. The issue that's created is that the current code only allows a maximum penalty that is below what the council had previously contemplated. So the question really is if the council wants a higher amount, there's a section of the code that will need to be adjusted. So that's one of the questions. If the council has issues with the current penalties and fines, as Christina did mention, there are limits that are set forward as to how high that can go. So originally, I think there may have been a conversation about going up to $5,000. What Christina is saying is that you're bound by what that maximum amount can be. The second part of that is that if there are other components of fireworks that are problematic, there are things that the council can amend within the ordinance to also make a more robust and comprehensive fireworks ordinance in place. So it's really two things. It's really, do you want to make your fireworks ordinance more robust in terms of addressing those community issues that are ongoing? That's one item. The second item is, does the council wish to have fixes with increasing the fines associated with the penalties associated with fireworks? So that's really the two policy issues. The council could essentially say, no, we're okay with everything, and then this presentation would conclude at that point and we wouldn't bring anything back. But there's other iterations that could be done. But essentially tonight, for the staff side of it, what we're really looking forward is having direction tonight, because from the staff side, we want to make sure that we have enough time with the public hearings, notices, that we have an ordinance that's in effect prior to the 4th of July so that we can enforce that as the 4th of July holiday is coming up. So that's really the policy issues for the council, Mayor.
All right, thank you for that. I think I heard everything. But it does help. It did help me. So what I like to see is to go ahead and move forward, and then even if we're not able to amend our current ordinance before the holiday, still continue to work on it, and then just bring it back even if it's after the fact. But it is something that I want to have in place for next year if we don't have enough time. But and that's the thing, my goal is to start having those conversations ahead of time and not wait until the last minute, because it just not
Correct
adequate.
me if I'm wrong, Christina, we could move forward almost immediately with the $100, $200, and $300 fine limits, correct?
Yeah, if you wanted to keep the fine the same, then you could just move forward with the fireworks ordinance that imposes those penalties on property owners for illegal use of fireworks.
We could get that done immediately and then continue to work on the Chapter 4, because that's going to be quite the chore.
Chapter 4, honestly, I don't think that amending Chapter 4 would take much, because it would just be adding just an additional subdivision, so 1-4-3, that carves out those building and health code violations allowed under the government code. So if we could do that, I think there would be time to bring both forward and have them in place by this 4th of July, so long as the council was okay with what's put before them in, the first reading and second reading.
Okay.
Council, any questions, comments, suggestions before I go for public comment? Okay, going out for public comment on the phone. Any public comment on the phone in regards to this specific item? Hearing none, coming back to the chamber. Any comments in the chamber? Coming back to the dais, council. So this is a discussion and direction on amending the fireworks ordinance and associated fines.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
I do believe...
Can you speak on the mic, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll take off the fat mask. To me, this fireworks thing, ordinance, it doesn't matter when we change it, because everybody here knows illegal fireworks going off is not a 4th of July deal. It's year-round for us in Livingston. It happened last night. It happened tomorrow night. It's going to happen every day. And that's one of the major complaints we hear, what's going on. I do believe we need to take it from health and safety and move it into a misdemeanor category. Do that way, and also make it an administrative fine. That way, the city enforces it directly. I think that's what we need to do. And I get that we need to amend Chapter 4, I believe. So I think that's what I would like to see, amend Chapter 4, make it administrative fine, and then impose the maximum penalties we can legally do so.
All right, yes. So, and then in regards to the fines, then there could be a couple of options, and then when you guys bring it back to council, and then some samples of what other cities are currently doing, as far as fines, so that this council can have a broader idea and a better understanding how well it's working in communities like in Ceres, Fresno, and others.
Okay.
Council, anything else?
So,
Go ahead.
sorry, so this 4th of July, having the feel for this, and I get that, illegal fireworks do occur and they will continue to occur because $100 fine, I mean, they've spent way more than that to see their fireworks. So with the 4th of July being on a Tuesday, having the PD out there, manning the event that is going to take place. I'm not sure where that location would perhaps be. What does that look like for your officers during that time? What does that look like for our residents when they're out there trying to display their own fireworks show in their homes? What is that going to look like with your staff trying to be out at an event over here and also trying to issue warnings? What does that look like?
My response to that would be that's a controlled event being conducted by professionals, and they're not shooting off aerial fireworks, landing on people's roofs, landing on people's cars, and things of that nature. It's in a controlled environment. It's being conducted by professionals that know what they're doing.
In regards to, sure, the event that's going to be hosted on our end, but for the residents that are shooting off illegal fireworks throughout our town, I know that you should be able to have some staff out there manning that as well, patrolling the whole area, right? So when we see the illegal aerial fireworks going for that night, what is it that, because I've heard complaints that they'll send videos, they'll do this, they'll do that, and law enforcement's there, they don't catch them. There are certain things that are required for these fines to be imposed on people to catch them in the act of
we seized over 75 pounds of illegal fireworks last year, and I've heard from multiple people that it was probably one of the quietest 4th of Julys that they've ever had here in Livingston.
All right. Anything else? Is that staff, does you have enough direction?
Mayor, so I did hear Mayor Pro Tem mention that all of the changes that he wanted from increasing it to a misdemeanor, the maximum penalties that are lawfully allowable, and then amending Chapter 4. So that's what I did hear from Mayor Pro Tem. We'd like additional council members so that we can get a consensus to say, yes, that's what we want to do, or if we want to do something else.
And also to make sure that it's an administrative fine, not a...
So that way the money stays in the city, right?
If we're going to spend city resources, why should we give it to somebody else,
Yes.
That helps to build itself, and hopefully if funds runs dry because everybody stops doing the illegal fireworks, but at least it gives us the resources to continue with it.
Thank you. Mr. Mann, what's your direction?
I agree to follow Mayor Pro Tem's path at this point to kind of see how everything would look. And when we come back, make a decision from there. But I do agree at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roth.
I'm in agreement with everything said tonight about the Chapter 4 and making it misdemeanor and keeping it in-house rather than the money going elsewhere.
Thank you. Ms. Soto, what is your direction?
You've heard from the majority of the council, but it would make sense to increase what we would need to in order to discourage illegal fireworks.
All right, thank you. Same.
Okay.
All right.
Mayor and Council, thank you. And then one little note that I wanted to make too is that the practice is maybe a little bit different than what the council's accustomed to. Instead of bringing forward an ordinance that the council hasn't provided initial direction on, the approach that we're taking is really getting the feedback and the direction on the front side, then bringing forward an ordinance so the council has had their imprints on that on the front side versus bringing in something that the council hasn't talked about before.
And actually, there's one thing that I forgot. I just remember was current ordinance. Whoever is enforcing says that whoever's enforcing has to visually see that happening. And I would like to see what the options would be for other alternatives, not just actually seeing that person firing or lighting up those fireworks at that specific time, because by the time, we get reports, by the time we send, you send out people to that location, they're already going off, and then that prevents from that citation to be given because it was not.
So the draft that I have started now actually addresses people that are in control of properties or hosting a party where fireworks are being shot off from their property. And it makes them culpable just as much as actually witnessing someone, shooting off an aerial firework.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Good, all right, thank you for that. Moving on, item number 10, discussion and possibly make city council appointments to city boards, commissions, and committees. And I wanted to bring this back since now we have Mr. Mann that has a lot of free time on his hand. So I wanted to make a recommendation. I am currently the liaison from the council to the recreation department, and that is one of the few, if not the only area where we don't have an alternate. And I wanted to ask and suggest and make a recommendation and possibly a motion to have Mr. Mann be the alternate to the as a liaison from the council to the recreation department. That way, if if I'm not able to attend, that way we make sure that we have representation, and that. But also, that doesn't mean that you cannot attend or anybody else can attend. But I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, are you looking for individual votes or all together on each item?
So
he doesn't have a choice. He's accepting it.
Well, no, that's. So I mean, we can go over each item if you guys want. So,
because I have a suggestion as well. So
okay, sure, by all means. So, but yes.
On item F,
yes, I
that
have.
one hasn't been voted for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
On item F, the Murma, I would like to appoint Councilmember Mann as a primary and Councilmember Roth as the alternate.
To what are you referring to?
The Merced Integrated Regional Water Management Plan.
So
I think that it's great for them to learn some new things.
Okay, so since we haven't had any motions yet, so but
If I can interject.
go ahead.
Those are actually the two that I had circled on my own paper. I'm here for everybody. If you have too much on your plate, please pass along to me. But water is near and dear to me. And I really enjoyed my time with Jackie at the Color Run. I'd love to help out in a bigger capacity. So thank you.
Yeah, that's why I thought the water management plan would be great for you, you know.
Okay, so what was, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, what was your?
Mine was the item number F, to make Mr. Mann because even though it says that I am currently the representative, I'm not.
That's from 2 years ago.
That was from the previously time, you know. So for some reason, even when I was not on the council, I was still on the board, but I was not attending. So to item F, Mr. Mon and then Mr. Roth.
I have a question for Monica. Do you have the information on when those meetings take place and times? Are they monthly?
Currently don't have that information.
What they will do is it's not a regularly occurring meeting. It's basically they will contact the representatives to start the meetings, and then they will start the meetings. I'm not sure how often that meeting happens anymore. It used to happen every month or every 2 months, but I'm not sure what the current frequency is. But the water is very important to us in the region, in the valley.
And back then, at what time were those meetings?
It was in the afternoons.
In the afternoons?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So since we're talking about multiple items, multiple sections of this item, anything else from council? Questions, comments before? All right, so I'm going to go out for public comment. Any comments, public comment on the phone? Coming back to the chamber, any comments in the chamber in regards to this item? Okay, coming back to the dais. Anything else? Any other questions, suggestions, recommendations? Mr. Roth?
Mr. Mayor, if JT would like, he could have my alternate spot on the League of Cities.
Item C. So maybe I have an idea. Maybe what we can do is, since we have multiple items that are being mentioned, I think that we should take one item at a time.
Sure.
For the record. So I'd like to start with the liaison. Well, this would be City Council liaison, item H, for the alternate position. So I make a motion to have Mr. Mann be the alternate position as the City Council liaison to Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission. Do you accept, Mr. Mann?
Yes, sir.
So I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Roth. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Roth?
Yes.
Councilmember Mann?
Yes.
Councilmember Soto?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra?
Yes.
Mayor Moran?
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. So we have the next item, item F.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So if you would be able to clarify the role as the liaison, because I know I served as part of the liaison for the Planning Commission. However, I was briefed afterwards of my duty. So what would be his role as a liaison, so he knows that when he attends, what his role is, and should he report, should he discuss?
Good. Thank you for that. So my understanding is, so, and maybe I can provide just a brief overview real quick, and maybe Jackie can jump in. But, well, my understanding is responsibilities is to attend the Recreation Commission meeting. I am there more as a liaison. I'm not there to give direction. I'm not there to, I can provide, I can answer questions, but I cannot provide direction because most of those items brought to the commission will be coming to council later on. And when we come back to the council, then provide a brief summary of the items that were talked about during that meeting so that the council has some history of what was discussed at that meeting. And then there will be an opportunity to provide information on what the council, from the council's perspective, but just as a report to the commissioners as well.
I understand, and I agree.
And then if Jackie can email us a copy of the more detailed responsibilities, that'll be better also. Okay, thank you for that. Was that, Monica, now I forgot if we voted on that or not.
We voted on H and it was a 5-0.
Okay, thank you. All right, item H, so Mayor Pro Tem, what's your suggestion?
I was thinking of more of the item F, not H, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, F, item F.
Yes, my motion will be to appoint Councilmember Mann as a representative and a Councilmember Roth as an alternate.
Okay, so let me go ahead and ask Mr. Mann and Mr. Roth, what do you guys think of it?
I agree.
Okay, so is that a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it is a motion.
So we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Samra. Is there a second?
I can second that.
Second by Mr. Mann. Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, which item?
H, F.
F.
F, okay. Roll call. Councilmember Roth?
Yes.
Councilmember Mann?
Yes.
Councilmember Soto?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra?
Yes.
Mayor Moran?
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. Council, are there, and then I think somebody mentioned, Councilmember Roth, you mentioned something else?
Yes, item C, I'm alternate for the Central Valley League of Cities. I'll give up my alternate spot to Mr. Mann.
And that is how often?
Pardon me?
How often is that, those meetings?
That I haven't attended one yet. Maria is the primary.
Yeah, it's once a year. It's once a year, and both can go. Because you're not voting here, you're voting at the league. So if one is not available for some reason, the other can go vote on behalf.
And there's dinner.
Yeah, it's the dinner, and I hope you guys enjoy trips to Sacramento because that's where Yuli is. So,
Not a problem. I can help out on that front as well.
All right, so we need a motion. So, Mr. Roth, is that a motion?
That is a motion.
And I can second that.
Okay, so motion by Mr. Roth, second by Mr. Mann. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Councilmember Roth?
Yes.
Councilmember Mann?
Yes.
Councilmember Soto?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra?
yes.
Mayor Moran?
Yes,
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
thank you. Anything else, council?
Thank you.
So, Monica, if you can forward all of those details for those, to Mr. Mann for those items, so that you can have them. All right, so hearing nothing else, Next item, we have council direction on future agenda items. Ms. Otto?
Yes, I would like to bring forward previously what I had asked of the district supervisor and for us to weigh in on what the contracts for always towing look like, and the way we procure the services that we have in regards to towing, because what I've seen is that Chief Hal has signed off on the recent one that we have, and I just wanted to know if the municipal code allows for our chief to enter into contracts, so we can have follow-up on reevaluating if so, that code. And what we have entering into contracts with the current providers that we have, and I do believe it is a company, Always Towing, that is of the Espinoza family, and T&B, who is also of the Espinoza family.
All right, thank you. Anything else, council?
Oh, I'm not done.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I also want to, and I know that I've talked to our interim in regards to positions that we hold in the city of Livingston as registered voters, that we do ask, or that our voters are allowed to have elected. And we have, I just want to know if it's standard practice with smaller cities, because I've looked into it in regards to our elected city clerk and our elected city treasurer. So I want to know if that would be continued standard practice, because I had a conversation with a previous city manager, previous interim, and currently our interim now. But I want to know that if I may get a brief presentation in regards to what it is, their job description as it currently is. I have seen a draft of it as of October 2022 in regards to what they should be doing as elected, and their presence here in the chambers on the night of council meetings, and the obligation that they have under their summaries, if they are being fulfilled or not. So if you can, for us, bring forward a brief presentation of what that entails, and then I'd like to, I want to know what the city has to do to steer more towards of having these appointments rather than an elected position. So I know we have a year and a half towards that, but I want to be able to see what that would look like. Also, another item that I'd like to bring forward, and it has been kicked down the road for several years, 2016, but I want to know, because it did come up at planning and it was on a draft for our agenda, is that we do not, as a city, have a current framework for the types of cannabis projects that applicants are bringing forward. We can't move on those unless we do have some of the framework in place. So I'd like for city manager to bring forward like an RFP, RFQ for cannabis, like a management service for cannabis policy development. And then I spoke with Anthony earlier today, because I was here because I did want to hear about some community concerns earlier, but we did briefly talk, and I know that on March 7th I had requested, because the council did vote on having our American flags downtown Livingston. I know that Public Works has been busy with more pressing issues like the storm and providing the city of Livingston with safety. But I do know that it was voted on council, as one of the first actions that I took was to have our American flags downtown. But another concern at that time on March 7th was that the banners, the military banners that are currently in Courtyard Plaza, and they used to line right here in front of City Hall, And I want to know if there's some type of, moving forward, if that would be something that the council would like to adopt, because I know this has not been formally adopted and I don't want it to go anywhere. I'd like it to remain. So in order to do that, I would like to bring forward some options on having a program that has already been in place with the VFW. So if we can work with what is already in place, with what the VFW has provided, as well as some of the costs that would incur to have banners downtown, because I know it would provide a sense of pride as we go downtown to see all our current members in the military and see the patriotism that we would have in our downtown. So if we can bring something forward that would formally adopt city's involvement with helping the VFW bring this project awareness and to our downtown. And I know I probably have one more. On some of the staff reports, it did show that the city manager has cannot purchase anything at the $10,000 mark. And with $10,000, I know we can't afford to get anything, so it'd have to constantly run through council. But knowing that some of those codes and some of the way that we procure things, I'd like to see that we, along with the strategic plan, find a policy update on personnel handbook, because it's been a long time coming. As we've seen already that our general plan hasn't been updated in over 2 decades. Personnel policies haven't been updated. Muni code has not been updated. So if we can find some way that we can put strategically some of those places so that we can get caught up to where we need to be in order to move this city forward, because I think we're stuck having to go back on some of the old codes that we have, and we want to be able to enforce them, but we're looking backwards. We need to have something in place moving forward so that we can update some of the policies that we have.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. Staff, if we can look into probably, I don't know when, but sooner rather than later, planning for a joint meeting between council, planning and recreation, engineering and public works, and just everybody else to kind of figure out what is the, where we want to go from now for moving forward. So having a joint meeting and some updates, I think it would be helpful. Also, in the past, I talked about, and we never got to it, the emergency preparedness plan. Last year we were dealing with fires, and this year we're, with floods and stuff like that, and emergencies, what to do if something breaks down and we cannot provide either services and so on. So I think, and I don't know when the last time the emergency preparedness plan was even looked at, but I know that I learned some things since last year, but we never got to it. And so, and I don't know how this would work, if it needs to be a workshop where the entire council can be there, or is it something that only 2 council members can participate in and then bring that to, so how does that work, Mr. Lopez, or legal, how would that work?
So just on a couple ideas, in other agencies, I know that there's, whether it's, kicking off an EOC or just some training related to, standard practices where I don't know how it's done here, whether it's PD or whether it's the county that has a role in this. We can certainly look at what can be done, whether it's having some tabletop exercises. As I mentioned in other agencies, there's tabletop exercises that are done to kind of get everyone situated. I know that there's, I don't remember the acronym, but there's certain, buckets that, policymakers are in, things that PD is doing, things that finance is doing. It's all structured out in the emergency management system. I forgot the acronym. There you go, ICS. And there's a whole system that, in terms of when something happens, there's a process of how things get carried out. And so it's probably a good idea to look at what that plan is all about. And so it makes sense for us to look at what we have currently and then provide maybe a proposal to the council as to what we would do to get the council briefed on that high-level item, Mayor.
All right, thank you. So, yeah, just let's look into that and see what the best thing, the best way to move forward. And then maybe for our next meeting, hopefully we can have an update on whatever we're at in regards to the pool MOU. So in 2 weeks, I would like to, so that way the council is aware, because I know which is a good thing. I've been asked by residents and for the last 3 months, I've just been 2 months or whatever it is, seems like 3 months or more, just telling them like it's moving forward, but if this doesn't happen, then we're not going to have a program. But so, and please let me know if we need to have any other further conversations or meetings or roundtables or whatever needs to be done to just go one way or the other. It is or it's not. Whoever needs to. Yeah. Okay. So. Well, yeah, but the difference will be if we will have a program. So, but and I just want to be able to have answers to the residents, and there's no official response yet. So it's just, but an update would be helpful. Yeah, thank you, and that's it for me.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
one other. Several years ago, I can't remember the exact date. City went out for a banking with our current bank, I think it's Farmers Merchants MMC. At that time, I do recall that we were promised they would open a branch in Livingston. I drove around all over town. I still don't see a branch here. So to me, I would like to revisit that. If you were promised a branch and they're not holding up their end of the bargain, does it make sense for us to do business with them if they're not doing business with us, other than taking our money? So I would like to find out where we're at and when it's time for renewal, to bring that up for the council discussion, to see if they're not going to hold their promise to us, then what possibly can we do as well? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Anybody else? Anything else? All right. So hearing none.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
One
yes.
more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I know that the contracts between the Child Development Center that we currently own, I know that contract is coming up. I'd like to revisit that and update it to see how much responsibility that the city is incurring, because like Gopal had just mentioned, that we want to be able to work together, but when I look at some of the warrants that come through, are some of the ways that we want to be able to utilize our own buildings. We have to go through certain steps with the school district, and so if we can revisit some of the ways that contract was written, because I know that it's a very old contract, to be able to utilize our properties and see how we can maximize the use of our facilities rather than not have control over that. If we can look at that, because I do believe it comes up in May, so we're already in April. So when that comes up, if you can provide us more information on how we can work with our schools.
Hopefully that's the last one.
You got your work, man.
Okay, I just have to ask, anybody else? Anything else? All right. Okay, so we are adjourning this meeting at 9:45.